9 p.m. in Djibouti. It's time to English New Edition for tonight headlines. We have the Minister of Women launches forums on mutual community development in Alta. Concerning the downtowns and the Coast Guard operations to embrace the meeting places of Mahmoud Harbi. For the international scene, UN fight against poverty, China and Group 77 present resolutions on eradication of rural poverty. Welcome to our newsroom. Djibouti has arrested an alleged international terrorist of French origin. The Djiboutian authorities have arrested Peter Sharif alias Abu Hamza 36, an alleged international terrorist of French origin who, among other things, is suspected of involvement in the attack on the French satirical newspaper Charlie Hebdo in 2015. Apprehended in Balbala, a popular district of Djibouti, by the competent Djiboutian services, the alleged terrorist is currently in their hands for interrogations. Peter Sharif entered the country via Oboho from Yemen by sea and was in possession of false Yemeni identity documents. Our country welcomes the alert and vigilance provisions of its state services to secure the national territory and to put out of harm's way anything that can by far or near to harm its tranquility. Efficient partners in the fight against global terrorism, our country, which has privileged collaborations with almost all the powers engaged in the fight against violent extremism and of any age, will proceed naturally to the delivery of the alleged jihadists to his country of origin, France, where it is sought. The Minister of Economy and Finance responsible for industry, Ilyas Musa Dawale, yesterday received in his office the Executive Secretary of the United Nations Economic Commissions for Africa, ECA, Ms. Vera Songwe, on a courtesy visit. The meeting took place in the presence of the Ambassador of Djibouti in Ethiopia and the African Union, Mr. Mohammed Idris Farah, and the Director of Economy, Ms. Mariam Hamadou. The two sides discussed the African economic issue and the digital economy, as well as recent development in our country to become an important trading center in the region. Ms. Vera Songwe congratulated the Djibouti government for its growth and its various relations with many countries, which allow it to exceed at the rate of 7% of growth. The Economic Commission for Africa has the capacity to operate at the regional level, and its mission is mobilizing resources to serve Africa's priority. The Minister of Finance thanked Vera Songwe for her visit to Djibouti, who is not the first Djibouti will benefit from partnership with ECA to improve satirical data in the countries and its experience. After meeting with the head of state, His Excellency Ismail Margele, the Executive Secretary of the United Economy Commissioners for Africa, Vera Songwe, visit the various economic buildings, including the new International Free Zone. On her arrival, she was received by the President of the Port and Free Zone, Mr. Wakar Umar Hadi, accompanied by our ambassador to Addis Ababa, Mr. Mohammed Idris Farah. She paid a visit to the International Free Zone. The largest free zones on the African continent has all its own characteristics. It houses spacious hangars, facilities for industrial activities, including manufacturing of packaging, tools, and raw materials possessions. Once the guided visit ended, to discussions, the president of the port and free zones explained with his teams the potentials that should attract the interest of the international investors wishing to settle in the new international free zone of Djibouti, which is the flagship of the Djiboutian economy. Under the high patronage of His Excellency Moumin Ahmed Hassan, Minister of Women and Family, with the support of the UNFPA, launched as forums on community development mutual from 20 to 27 December 2018 in the 5 regions of the interior. The objective of this forum is to exchange with the localities of the first phase and raise awareness on the second phase, to involve terms in development projects by organizing and providing them with tools such as community funds that will allow them to face social risks jointly in order to accelerate the resilience and empowerment of women while improving their living conditions. For the first days of the forums launched in the region of Arta, 9 localities beneficiaries of the project, community development mutuals, and the installations of the community offers members of the committee and different localities of the first phase such as Karta, Umar Chaga, Nagad, Duda, and that of the second phase such as Ali Une, Demajok, Laita, Shebele, Atar, numbering 72 peoples composed of women and men were all present. This forum was attended by the Minister of Women and Family, Mumin Ahmed Hassan, UNFT Vice President Hassan Ahmed Bilil, the Honorable Ms. Shukri Ali Ainan, UNFPA Office Mrs. Aisha Ibrahim, the Prefect Adelaide Rauki, and the Regional Council President Mr. Almi Bouha Goudade. The commissioners of the National Assembly, presided by Deputy Sharmake, by the Honorable Sharmake, has held a working spaces in the commercial room so to discuss the files on the agenda on the commissioners of dialogue. The government was represented by the Minister of Budget, Mr. Bode Ahmed Roble. The discussions were intensive on the different documents addressed at the meetings of the commission. In the framework of the legislative elections in the Togolese Republic yesterday, members of a Djiboutian parliamentarians drove out of the Observers Committee. The Member of Parliament Mahmoud Mustafa, Pan-African Parliament members, has been appointed Vice President of the African Commissions of Observations to oversee the polls. Mahmoud, the Member of Parliament, accompanied by his colleagues from the Pan-African Parliament, went to supervise different polling stations to ascertain irregularities of the ballot. Recall that the Honorable Member of Parliament Mahmoud Mustafa already participated in many different missions from observing elections on the African continent to enforce the instructions of the African Parliament. At the invitations of the Japanese Ministry of Defense, a senior Djiboutian military delegations led by the Deputy Chief of the Defense Staff Brigadier General Tahir Ali Mohammed makes a friendly visit from 18 to 22 December 2018 in Japan. The delegation led by the General Tahir Ali, including Lieutenant Colonel Fuad Elmi Wa'is and the Sub-Lieutenant Mohammed Mahmoud Mirane. During this visit, a working meeting was held on the Wednesday, 19 December, with Mr. Nobwaki Minyana, Commissioners of the Acquisitions, Technology and Logistics Agency of the Japanese Ministry of Defense. Both sides engaged in extensive and deep exchanges of views to develop military cooperation despite constitutional constraints in Japan. General Tahir Ali Mohammed was then received by General Koji Yamazaki, Chief of the Staff of the Land Self-Defense Forces, in the afternoon of the Friday, so 21st. The delegation's visit at the garrisons of the Japanese Self-Defense Land Forces at the city of Osaka in central Japan to get an idea about the maintenance systems of the engineering equipment. As part of the caravans of the property of the city of Djibouti, initiated by the mayor of Djibouti, Fatuma Awali Usman, the Coast Guard Djiboutian, headed by Colonel Wa'is Omar Boukhari, strongly mobilized at downtowns this morning with the agents of the town hall and local elected officials to take part in the noble activity of cleaning and the famous squares plus Mahmoud Harbi all the places, Rambo. This cleanup operation is led in collaborations with the municipality of Blouse, the prefectures, and the district neighborhood councils, the local elected officials, the road and the ADR and ONIAD, and an exceptional participations of 100 agents under the office and officers of the Coast Guard, who have through the day with extraordinary strength pick up garbage and painted the sidewalks. This day also saw the participations of the commanders of the Coast Guard, Colonel Wais Omar Bore, and the member of the local association located in 1, 2, 3 neighborhoods, and parliamentarians, as well as in the file of mayor of the city. This sweep operation is part of the policy of embellishing the city of Djibouti. We have a good news at the ophthalmology department of Djibouti Peltier General Hospital for patients who can now use the lasers to treatment for various ocular conditions. Indeed, the Peltier Hospital has just acquired the latest laser devices of the latest generations that combine two types of laser, namely the YAG laser and the argon laser. Peltier Hospital General Manager is Mr. Hussein Mohammed Hussein, and the technical director Dr. Saeed Awled visit the new facilities with ophthalmologist Dr. Reiso Abdi, who explained the important utilities of these new devices and expertise is provided in the field of ophthalmology surgery. Indeed, the YAG laser can perforate the iris or proceed the capsulotomy in cases of treatment-resistant glaucoma, also for treating secondary cataract. As for the argon laser, it is used for the trabeculosplasty for the reductions of the ocular pressures in case of chronic glaucoma, and to treat various retinal pathology in diabetic, for example, and to prevent retinal detachment in cases of ocular trauma. As part of the protections of the children's right, the National Unions of Djiboutian Women UNFD conducted the campaign to raise awareness on the right of the child in the capitals and the interior region. Thus, the coordinators of the UNFD program held an important meeting on this theme in the presence of the Community Management Committee in the Hayable neighborhood in the greater suburb. Dozens of the women from all community participate in the sensitization session to protect and promote the rights of children. The participant thanked the UNFD and promised to continue to promote children's rights in the different neighborhoods of Hayable. The Djiboutian Federation is to organize the Regional General Assembly for the Wellness Federations on Wednesday, 19 December 2018 at the meeting rooms at the National Technical Center. At this General Assembly, all present delegates from different divisions of the national football D1, 2, and 3. If regional leagues were present, this General Assembly was presided by Mr. Suleiman Hassan Wabiri, President of the Football Federation, and the participant of the Directors of Sport, Mr. Abshir Hassan, representative of the MENFOP, Mr. Umar Geddi, and the Secretary General of all the members of the steering committee, the staff of the Djiboutian Federation of Football. The opening ceremony by the President, Mr. Suleiman Hassan Wabiri, wishes welcome to all the guests, the honorable delegate of the different divisions of the national football before starting the agenda. The National Football Federation awards a large donation of equipment to the MENFOP. The acting Secretary General of the MENFOP, Mr. Asid Noor, receives this morning a large donations from the equipment for middle schools. During the ceremony organized by the federations of the President of the Djiboutian Federation of Football, Mr. Suleiman Hassan Wabiri, presented as part of the partnership agreement between the MENFOP and the Djiboutian Federation of Football to strengthen the practice of the women's football in the schools. A large numbers of equipment consisting of, among other things, complete Swiss balloon footballs and other accessories. In addition to the president of the federation and the acting secretary general of the MENFOP, this ceremony brought together many of the MENFOP officials and the worlds of sport, including the technical advisor Mr. Mohammed Barkat Siraja, Safiya Abdullah Omar Musa, and Mohammed Yassin Mohammed Omar Ali, senior executive of the federation. As part of this in schools program, which consists in integrating chess in school to improve student cognitive abilities, the Djibouti Chess Federation is in partnership with the Kamash Group under the aegis of the Secretary. On December 18, 2018, the first chess club is in the International School of Africa, ISA school, following the partnership convention that the federation has signed with this school private, with the unwavering support of the Kamash Group and specifically its CEO, Mr. Hussein Mahmoud Roble. The leaders of the federation, including the vice president Mr. Mohammed Elmi Boulali and the secretary general Mr. Ahmed Hassan Abdullahi, expressed their desire to continue this momentum by creating the next chess clubs in the schools of excellence, as well as in a few other public and private schools. Finally, the members of the Djiboutian Federations of Chess Games present at this ceremony expressed in chorus their thanks to the Secretary of State for Youth and Sport, Mr. Hassan Mohammed Kamil. Thanks to the homes their federations was able to leave the lethargies in which is vegetated for years. On 18 December of each year, we celebrate the Day of Arabic Language around the world, a great opportunity to remember the richness and diversity of this language. Is one of the most beautiful languages in the world, that of poetry and also literature's grammar. On this occasion, the Yemeni schools in Djibouti organized a ceremony last night to celebrate this occasion in the presence of the charges of the Yemeni embassy in Djibouti, Mr. Mashar Khayed, the director of the Yemeni schools in Djibouti, Mr. Abdurraqib Al-Dubai, the president of the parents' councils, Mr. Abdurrahman Mohamed Taha, and the chairman of the board of directors, Mr. Maysara Mohammed Saif, the director of Al-Rahma complex, Mr. Dr. Abdallah Fatouh, and the deans of the diplomatic corps accredited to Djibouti, ambassador of Palestine, Mr. Kamal Kazaza. During this event, the students of the prestigious educational institutions present various programs to celebrate this day, dedicated to the international celebrations of the Arabic languages as the official language of the United Nations. And in a brief speech, the director of the schools, Mr. Abdurraqib Al-Dubai, stressed the importance of the Arabic at the international level. He reviewed the efforts of those responsible to serve the Arabic language and strengthen its global presence. In an interview given to the Yemeni School Board Chairman, Maysara Mohammed Sharif has stressed that to the national television that the World Day of the Arabic Language is an international United Nations Day which is celebrated every year on December 18th. It affirmed the important role played by the Yemeni school since its creation before 26 years to distribute the Arabic language and cultures in Djibouti. Mr. Mohammed Saif welcomed the participation of 217 students from the Yemeni schools and the University of Djibouti and the independent candidates of the Yemeni community who participate in various files of this competition. For the international scene, the UN General Assembly on the Thursdays adopted its first resolutions addressing poverty eradication in rural area, underlining the importance of the concerted effort to achieve the 2013 agenda goals. Listen to the report.
The UN General Assembly on Tuesday adopted its first resolution addressing poverty eradication in rural areas, underlining the importance of concerted effort to achieve the 2013 agenda goals put forward by China and the Group of 77, the largest bloc of UN developing member states. The resolution noted that nearly 18% of the Eastern poor live in rural areas on agriculture and the 2013 Agenda for Sustainable Development.
This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us.